I did not know. That's why I was asking.
No, she said she was leaving tonight. She was leaving after when I saw her lunch.
Aha! There's our fearless attorney. And then he said you were staying. Oh, okay, hold on. Getting there. Got it.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everybody. Roll call when you can.
You got it. King. Present. Pugh.
Present.
McDonald.
Present.
Galogly.
Here.
Deskin.
Here.
Bergbauer.
Here.
Bartleson. Here. Saban. We have a quorum.
All right, so Mitzi is here today to open us up in prayer. She's our newest police chaplain, and we're so happy that she joined and decided to be part of that. So thank you, Mitzi, and so come on up, please.
All right, let's pray. God, thank you for this great city and for the fine men and women who have been chosen to lead it. We ask for unity and wisdom in all the business at hand this evening and in all their decision-making. Please bless them as they lead and serve the people of Lockport. Amen.
Thank you. Thanks, Mitzi, appreciate it. All right, any liaison reports out there?
Go ahead, mine's just...
Yours is short, mine's sweet. This is a liaison report for the finance group. Recently received grant funding from the state of Illinois for the infrastructure projects in 2023, portions of 16th Street construction, 12th Street design, quiet zone for $1.2 million. $190,000 grant, which was used for Old Canal Days paving project. That's that little road that we put in. $354,000, which was used for the Maryknoll project, and I think that was for the water extension line. Okay, so that was helpful. So, no Daves or Brian hired this month, so I think we're good. That's all I got.
State's been good to us. We've had a lot of good grants lately, so thank you for the staff for their efforts on those applications.
Grants are good.
Okay, I just have a reminder. Wanted to just remind everyone that Shred Day is September 28th, so it's right around the corner. So get all your paper that you want shredded and bring it to the City Hall parking lot, and we'll shred it for you for free. So that's between 9 and 12 on Saturday the 28th.
10.
10 and 12. Oh, I had down here 9 to 12. Okay, 10 to 12.
I got a few things. Our next fall branch pickup will be the first week of October, which will be October 7th. And then leaf pickup will start a few weeks after that, or at least is scheduled to start in mid-October, but that'll be weather permitting if we need it or not at that time, and it is scheduled to go all the way into December or until as long as we can do it. I also want to mention at this time, there's been a lot of notifications about the 9th Street Bridge being done. I think some of our members or our citizens are being a little confused, thinking that they're getting a brand new bridge. I think we need to just get that out there, a reminder. I think almost everybody on this council might remember this, but the state this is their job, is part of the Build Illinois program. We are involved a little bit to help with the design, and the state has now entered into phase 1, which is the design of the bridge. And I'll let Ben add a little bit more to it, because Lockport will be involved or have a little say in what gets done, but if you're thinking you're getting a brand new bridge, you're not. It's going to be mostly a deck replacement. So if you could add to it, Ben, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor, or Mayor. Thank you, Chair. Everyone, Mayor and Council. I'm awake now. Yeah, so it's what we call a new deck, okay? But they're not introducing new traffic. It's not going to be additional lanes for vehicles. IDOT did reach out to us that they finally signed a contract with a Phase 1 engineer. We will be meeting with them to be discussing the designs. And I got a text from our local House Rep Dee Avalar, who's been a great advocate for us about this project, and her report from IDOT is stating that Illinois 7 Bridge proposed is a bridge replacement deck that would include a bicycle pedestrian accommodation. So that's a bit of a win too, because we've been advocating for that as well, that don't just replace the deck as is, make it another 10 feet wider so we can put a bike lane across it. The mayor and I are going to try to meet with those consultants early on, because we want to talk about a little bit of the curve at Canal Road as well as you come into town. Maybe we can get that expanded a little. But the overall bridge deck itself won't change its footprint. You know, you can't add 3 more lanes and then come back down to 2 again. So it's not gonna be any additional capacity. Hopefully, it'll be actually underway by 2030. They're saying the later half of IDOT's letting, which is 25 through 30. I'm guessing it's gonna be 29 or 30 or so. But it will be a huge impact, because you will have a full lane closure and detours. And the only detours over the Des Plaines River Bridge are downtown Joliet and 135th. So the mayor's house is going to be really quiet with truck traffic that year. But we'll see, you know, how that gets announced, and we'll stay on top of them. And now that they've really, we knew this was coming early on, but now that they're finally engaged and have a signed contract for phase 1, we'll start moving. We'll get more information to share.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, JR, because I've been thinking about that too as I watch people. I'm like, oh, geez, I got to get on here and correct that, because it's still 2 lanes. So thank you. All right, anything else?
Yes, heritage and architecture. It was fascinating. We talked about tuck pointing, and you would think that was really boring, but it was interesting in the fact that I believe that everybody on the board is very thoughtful about what they're doing. It was very interesting in the fact that one person brought up that should we go ahead and hand chisel the tuck pointing out, then research was done and it was found out that, you know, you could just go ahead and what is it called, sand it out?
Use grinders,
Grinders,
mechanical
yeah.
equipment.
So doing that, and then also we talked about a draft, making a draft of a permit form, because they want to make sure that the tuck pointing is done correctly. And, you know, they're talking about 2x2 mock-ups, they're talking about examples. I thought it was a very good meeting, and I'm very happy to be getting the opportunity to listen in, because it was very interesting. Moving on to the other thing is Bloom Lockport. Everything's going really well. The garden's really thriving. We're going to pull out some plants that aren't doing so well, put in new plants, and we're doing the part that I'm really excited about is the programming, whereby hopefully it will reach out to the residents and inform and educate people of the community and engage, hopefully, the high school to help us with it. So that's where we're at.
Oh, that's great. Do you guys, as your group meets, thinking about how we make it applicable in a yard? Because I remember once we talked about, like, if somebody just did their whole yard like that, it would probably not go over well. It's like, so thinking about placement or percentage of, or how it's edged so that it feels purposeful, as you guys are getting, as you're going through the programming and showing it off, like some recommendations about how it might look in the yard and play out.
Right. We're, I am looking at Oak Park, because they have something like that, where they have a certain percentage that they can have for their, the front of their yard,
Oh, that's great.
so.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that, Christina. Anybody else? I'll just say a couple things, like about, you know, our Star Innovation Park, AKA the old Chevron property. So we've had a lot of interest after, you know, the whole Quantum thing. There's, like we've mentioned before, a lot of big developers were all, became aware of the site, never knew it was there. So we've had a number of meetings with some of these folks. You know, the big hot thing in the market is data centers. And there's plus and minuses about it that I think we'll need to consider as a council. So I just wanted to put it out there so you start getting it in your head. So, I mean, the data centers are basically just a big block building. There's nothing special about them. But one thing that kind of follows along with the goals we had when the community was putting the master plan together is like passive uses that didn't generate, traffic or anything. That's certainly what a data center is. You're not going to have any truck traffic. There's no high bays. There's none of that stuff. They do generate good property tax, and so it would put good money into the TIF for the remainder of that. And then I guess the negatives are going to be that it doesn't have like a lot of employees where you're going to have big lunch crowds coming down or something like that. So that's the one negative. But I just want to bring it up to say that is something that every one of the developers has talked about a possibility on this site. So this is just a general update, but we can give you guys some more details, like, about what that means and stuff like that. So Lance could put out some more insight about data centers and such in the future here for us. So anything to add to that, Lance, you think?
Yeah, I guess from our standpoint, we're kind of at a moment in time where, from a staff standpoint, we want to engage all of you and the Plan Commission in what our next steps are. We have really 3 roads that we can take. The first is we could build data centers tomorrow. We've already got people that have offered us plans and thoughts, unsolicited, because there is that much demand in the market to put that in. And as Steve noted, it does generate a significant amount of property tax, which accomplishing a lot of the community-based stuff in the TIF would certainly be beneficial to the city, but it doesn't offer the employees. You could send out an RFP to a whole variety of different developers and see what their best idea is and pick the best idea. You could let it lay fallow in perpetuity, or you can wait while we're in what is termed the Vetted Sites Program for Intersect Illinois, for what are called RFIs from companies that are looking to come to Illinois. They send us RFIs saying, here's what we need, do you have this? And that can be 2 years, it could be 4 years, it could be 6 years, it could be a long time before something hits. So really, we need all of your kind of brain power to think about what the vision of the city is. We have the master plan in place, and so we have a pretty good roadmap for what we're looking for. But it's a value proposition: money, employees, uniqueness, or what it is today. So just throwing that out there. It's not an official topic that we have tonight, but
yeah, I just want to give you an update that that's the kind of level of interest.
Right.
And then they're right about the Intersect. So Illinois Intersect is kind of a quasi state funded, fundraised organization that just helps find users for sites, but we are part of their vetted program. There's only like 14 sites in the state that are on this program at the moment, but these are sites that are really ready to go, and they have a whole system, but much of it's in place because of all that we did through that PsiQuantum thing, which is why we're on that list. So that's a really good advocate for other uses, to be possible. So, okay. So enough of that. Got that on everybody's radar. All right, friends. And then we'll move on. We'll have a motion for a consent agenda.
Second.
All right, Renee and JR, all in favor? Aye. All right, so we're looking for approval tonight of the regular city council meeting minutes from September 4th, our committee of the whole meeting minutes from September 4th, our payroll period ending September 1st, bills through September 10th. There's a special use permit for a drive-through facility with C2 community commercial zoning. That's at Lot 4 and Lockport Plaza for Scooter's Coffee. There's the facade and site improvement grant for 916 South State, Mr. Klunk's building. There's the facade and site improvement grant for 1036 1040 South State, that's Lockport Vacuum. facade and site improvement grant for 6th Street, which is the adaptive pack out and back along the Canal Trail. There's the V3 Heritage Village Playground Design Services, and then the Brick Street Pumping Station Amendment from Thomas Engineering. We've also got the proposal for the I&M Canal Outfall Improvements with HR Green. And then lastly is the proposal from V3 for the Illinois Route 7 drainage improvements. So all those things are on consent, and looking for a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, Renee and Christina, and we'll do a vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes?
All right, next we're looking for approval for CA1, which is Professional Services Agreement with Tree Architecture for design for the HVAC and control systems here for City Hall, not to exceed $251,250. We're looking for a motion on that.
Second.
All right, Darren and JR. Was there any updates on that?
We just needed a little more time to review some documents, and Sonny and I had a chance to review and accept the AIA docs that they had submitted, so we're no hesitation to proceed as far as what we're agreeing to do. It's about 10 to 12% of the design costs for the project, which is fairly typical for these kind of situations, and it is going to be a unique design, so there's probably a little more built in. So.
All right, any other questions, thoughts?
I have a question. I apologize, I wasn't here for the last meeting, but, so this is just for the design and management, potentially bidding and all that, not the
docs.
actual cost of the HVAC system?
Correct.
Hardware?
Correct. You're talking probably, you know, a multi-million-dollar system, controls system, new HVAC for actually 2 replacements, some other fire safety. We don't have fire alarms in this building, so.
It surprised me that we didn't
Yeah.
have any type
Yeah.
of, no, the fire system's, that's going to have a sprinkler and a whole,
Well, we have the sprinklers, but we don't have an alarm.
Okay, no
So
alarm.
you can't run
Okay.
to a wall and pull a switch.
okay,
So there's some other life safety things. Yeah.
get close
And,
to
yeah, you gotta have a fire. The other thing we were considering at one time was a backup generator system. We are a warming, cooling center, and in an emergency, we may assemble here to do city business, and so we thought it was important. That's a fairly heavy cost. It was like $250,000. So we were thinking about holding off on that, but we were gonna have them design kind of a plug and play, so we can get a system outside that we can rent a large generator, come in and plug it in, basically, and it would run the systems of the building, at least in the interim, until maybe we can get a grant for a full-time generator someday, but we have no backup systems here right now.
So this company is basically going to do the design scope, put that out for bid, and then they'll accept the bids and then do
Yeah,
that process?
we would go out to bid, seal bids, and then we'll come back, and, I mean, they'll make the bid documents
Right.
and work with the staff on design and where the vents are gonna go on the system. And then we'll go get pricing, and if it's something we can afford to do, we have to come back to the council and see where, this will probably take till spring to design. I mean, it's probably a 5-month process, 4-month process. We're hoping to hit the bid letting in spring, because with an HVAC system, once you remove one, there isn't one. And so we don't want employees in here in the middle of July that are unconditioned. So we're hoping to either hit that sweet spot in the spring or the fall. We may come up with some programs and systems where some people may be able to work from home for certain hours and set up a temporary workspaces in the gymnasium or something where it might be cooler. So we're going to be working through some of those recommendations with them as well.
There were a couple items in the document that stated there was some tuck pointing that needed to be done on the roof. Is that going to be handled separately? Because it
So
sounds like that's allowing water
We
to get in.
spent some money already to try to jump on some of those roof fixes. In the report, there showed a lot of different line items. We also went out for bid for some additional tuck pointing. I don't think it's on the agenda tonight, but we were trying to get some companies to do some of that work this year. If we don't, we'll do it in the spring. But that would be additional above and beyond the $230 or $250 to do the design.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Christina could probably tuck point for us.
Yeah, I have lots of information.
Tuck pointing's a
on
serious
it.
thing.
It is. It was fun.
especially for a building like this. So this would be approval of resolution 24096 for the amount not to exceed $251,250 with Tria Architecture to handle the design and documents for our new HVAC system.
If there's nothing else, we can do a roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
All right, next we're looking for approval of Resolution 24101, which is a change order for $75,000 for the Finament Creek Stabilization Project at Maple Hill Subdivision. Looking for a motion on that.
Second.
All right, Renee, JR, any updates, changes?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of the council. This is that time of year where we try to get money spent that we have allocated for different types of projects or realize try to close out different projects. In this scenario, we originally approached this project for the area in the red where we did a lot of canal stabilization and creek stabilization and the pond berm bank. That has been going well and wrapping up in short order. While out there doing some additional inspections, we've been alerted to some other trees and things that were down in the creek, upstream and down. I know Darren probably knows more about the creeks than I do, but there's a lot of, the creeks from 355 all the way down to the I&M Canal, right? Millen Creek, Fitterman Creek. We realize that there's probably millions of dollars worth of work that needs to be done, and we need to start chipping some of these things off the list. This partnership with the HOA was a good start. We realized that the scope didn't include any tree removal. We looked at it and saw some other opportunities that we have an opportunity with the weather's been so dry to bring in some specialized equipment with Homer Tree Service and not have to remove trees manually, that they'll do it with specialized equipment, which is a lot more affordable than the labor time is about double. And I'd love to see this prove out because I think we need to do a little bit of this every year. And we had an allocation in the budget for about $100,000 to do some other creek work that didn't get done. So we have the funds available in this year's budget to get this done. And I know that it'll help clear away future debris that could fall in it and be something that we don't have to worry about in this area for another 20, 25 years. Yes, sir.
There was wording in one of the documents that said the $100,000 might be able to be covered by the homeowners association, because I think they were in for $100K and we were in for the rest, right?
So there was a partnership with the HOA. I think they ended up sharing about $75,000 in the original scope. That was about $400,000. We haven't asked them. There are trees down that are beyond their property at this point that we're trying to get to up and downstream. Yes, they will benefit, but we were pleased with their participation with the other tree removal, so we weren't asking them to, add a few dollars to the project at this point. They really couldn't afford it.
That's fine. You clarified it was upstream and downstream of their property, so it's not really theirs.
It's not just all theirs.
Okay,
There
so
are
that-
some on theirs, but not.
Okay, that's
not that
fine.
many.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else? And we'll do a roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Thank you.
All right, next we're looking for a motion to approve Resolution 24099, change order for $32,916 with PT Farrow for the Adams Street head wall and railing repair request. Looking for a motion.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
JR and Joanne. Any thoughts, questions, any updates on that? Yeah. Presented?
Yeah, basically what happened was during the construction and, so the before picture, you can see how the concrete was deteriorating around the post. Well, some of them were actually embedded a little bit deeper than originally thought of. So we ended up taking about a third more of the concrete head wall down to the top of the culvert. So this extra concrete work is what the cost was basically from. The other additional cost was due to, once the contractor was down in there, PT Farrow inspected the pipes themselves, the culverts, and the joints were separating. So they actually went in and we paid them to go ahead and reinforce them and concrete them in, so there's no more maintenance out there. So the whole entire project, which is on the left side, or the right side, is a complete project. So this one and this bridge will be done and not have to be maintenance-free for a while.
Okay.
Nice job. It turned out nice. It really did. I saw it before, and the neighbor was asking about it, the hazards of it, and I think now he's very happy it's all put back together.
Yeah, it looks good. It's
Yeah.
really nice. Turned out well.
All right, friends, if, good for a roll call then, please.
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
All righty. Any new business anybody got?
Mayor, we do have a request for an exec session tonight under 2C11 for potential litigation.
Okay. All right, then if nothing else, we'll look for a motion to adjourn city council.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Go ahead, Pat, and then Renee. There were like three other voices. You can do Renee, I think.
Yep. I heard you.
I don't think there was a vote. There wasn't a vote to adjourn, but that's okay. Present.
Here.
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 Here?
All right. First thing on the agenda, CA1.
Thank you, Mayor. Went too far. Each year, we have to present the annual schedule of meetings for the city council, planning and zoning, the board of police commissioners, heritage and architecture. We have, as customary in the last few years, we have included a skipping of one meeting for that first meeting in July. Everybody seems to enjoy their summer break. This year, it's a little bit unique. January 1st falls like right next to a Wednesday or as a Wednesday, so we also are recommending not having that first meeting in January of 2025. But other than that, everything's pretty standard. And I think we had one HOA meeting or something shift to a Tuesday or something. H&A had one shift because of a holiday on a Monday. So. In January, yeah. And we'll obviously give everybody reminders. Now, once it's posted, the council has the ability to add and subtract meetings anytime they want with a 48-hour notice. So this is just kind of our blanket requirement by statute.
All right. Everybody okay with that schedule?
Looks good to me.
All right. You good with consent? You guys all right with this? Yep. All right, so we'll put it on for consent.
Okay, thank you.
CD1.
Thank you, Mayor. This is related to ordinance 24023. It's really a fairly simple change to our ordinance related to our temporary signs and specifically election signs. And it's only in residential areas. Does not impact commercial signs. One of the issues that we ran into during the last primary election, we don't really find this to be an issue in the general election because it's not local, but the primary election, we had a number of people that were putting 4x4 signs up in residential neighborhoods. Our maximum sign size was 2x4. So when we went out and did code enforcement on those folks that were posting 4x4 signs, they simply cut their 4x4 sign in half and then were meeting the 2x4 requirement.
I like the creativity.
Right? And so this change is in an effort to not allow that to happen again. We feel at a staff level for sure that, and the Plan Commission agrees, that having 4x4 signs in residential neighborhoods is out of the spirit of typical yard signs and things that support different candidates. So we're presenting this change to change it to a 2x3 maximum size, which obviously would allow the typical yard signs that you find everywhere else, including a size larger than that, but it would not allow for the 4x4 signs nor the stackable signs on top of each other to create one big sign.
All right. Anybody have any opinions on that, one way or another?
Would this include like the yard signs for birthdays and, you know?
No, it does not. This is specific to the election signs.
Okay.
All right. Everybody okay with the consent then?
Correct them, but-
Next, CD2.
Thank you. This is related to Resolution 24-100. This applicant, Rocco's Pub out on 159th Street, is requesting funds through the Facade and Site Improvement Grant Program to pave the existing gravel/asphalt parking lot, replace the fence, and construct a new trash enclosure. The property is not located, could you put the slide ahead? Thank you. The property is not located within the target area. We extended our target area out to basically Clover Ridge Drive, but given the conditions and its prominence in our gateway to the community, we feel like this is an appropriate use of site improvement funds. They are requesting $10,000, which is the maximum, given the total investment in the project, which is well over $80,000 to replace all the pavement and do all of the improvements that they are recommending. So we are recommending approval of that. The quotes are in your packet. To date, the City Council has approved $151,605 of our $150,000 that are budgeted just in the facade grant proposal, but we have not fully spent or allocated our code compliance grant, which is fire sprinkler and alarms, which we look at as kind of one single pot. Including this, we would be at $216,605, which when you compare that to the $235,000 that is total in that grant pot, we're at about 92%. So our recommendation is to approve and place on the agenda for either action or consent.
All right. Questions, thoughts, concerns?
Do we expect any other submissions for reimbursement this year?
It's a topic that is going to come up for all of your input. We currently have waiting in the queue almost $175,000 in requests. So that's going to be a consideration for all of you. I'm not sure if this size-wise is even within the realm of what we have out there that is pending. And this, in my mind, it does not impact our ability to do it, but the question for you will be is whether or not you amend the budget to accommodate new requests, or whether you ask them to delay their projects until the new year, or whether you choose not to fund them.
So if I'm right, what I understand is if all those outstanding requests that are looking to come to us, we have the money in that fund, but our budget doesn't absorb all of that. So it's like we can either just make an amendment and allow that money to free up, or just tell everybody to wait until January. So that's accurate assessment then? Okay. Okay.
And then-
So that's just something we got to decide on.
Looking at the kind of the drawing of the proposed paving, are the green spots proposed landscaping? Okay.
Nice.
That's nice.
Native plant.
Is it possible to add some on the west side there, in that southwest corner, where it's currently? I mean,
Oh,
is there a reason why that was omitted or left off?
Actually.
It wasn't, that wasn't intentional. We were just trying to capture the stuff that was within the parking lot. We can certainly talk with the applicant, at a minimum, to put grass in those areas to clean it up. I'm sure that the construction of the pavement will certainly rip up
Destroy everything.
all of
that's
the
there.
area,
Right.
and so dirt and
Right.
and turf will have to come back at a minimum.
And then the yellow line is proposed sidewalks. If they're not already there, it's the addition.
Right,
of-
those are just simply saying that if they are going to do some new sidewalks, that would be the location to do it.
All right.
Question?
Yeah, please.
Two. The $151,000 that's already been approved for projects that are in, Of that $151,000, how much of that is still waiting to be paid out? Meaning, if they don't pay out by the end of the month, that's money we haven't used, correct?
We're at about 40 to 50,000 that has been paid out so far. There is a fairly sizable one that will be paid out shortly for Villanova. Is upwards of $60,000 plus their fire sprinkler and alarm grant. And then Lupine also has $20,000 for their fire sprinkler and alarm grant as well. So between those two, that's going to jump almost right up to where we are. And we do expect that before the end of the year, for sure.
The Opera House, they have a lot of things that we approved for facade grant that I know have not been installed or paid out. Is that still in that 151,000, or is that from last year?
That's from last year.
That's from last year, so
Yeah.
that's sitting in reserve somewhere?
We can cover it, yeah.
Villanova, they've got the same problem with the parking lot. They have the Montessori school and theirs. They're gonna have to redo that. Have they come to us asking us for help with the parking lot?
That is one of the grants that is kicking us over the budget. Villanova does currently have some code enforcement citations on his parking lot. We were willing to delay the enforcement of those until they got their building underway and we're done moving trucks in and out for materials and stuff like that. But they are working with Lupine Montessori to redesign that whole parking lot and do it all at one time. So to try and combine efforts. But Lupine is also one of those that is in the queue and has actually already submitted their facade grant request for it, and that is inclusive of a site improvement grant request as well.
Okay. You mentioned the gateway to the city. That's an area of the city that we really need to try to, draw more businesses out that way. So when you're coming on Archer Avenue, it's like Lockport.
Yeah. It was one of our strategic priorities from the strategic plan, so that has certainly been a focus, which is why the water line was such an important investment in that, which has honestly triggered all of the investments that have come in afterwards.
Yeah, I stopped out there and talked to him, and he's like, oh my God, I didn't anticipate. So, I mean, helping them out would be a higher priority in my mind, so, okay.
All right, friends, are we okay with consent on that?
I've got one more quick one. Is this one proposed for this year?
Yes.
So consent, we okay?
Yes.
All right, next we've got AT1, making the 2 classes for tobacco licenses.
Yes. Mayor, members of the City Council, this is in response from the input at the last Committee of the Whole meeting. And basically what this amendment to Chapter 134 of the City Code does is create 2 classes of tobacco licenses. Right now, you sell any amount of tobacco product, you have to get a tobacco license. There's no class. It doesn't matter if you sell a penny in tobacco product versus thousands of dollars per month in tobacco products. What this does is kind of create the regulation we need for those more higher intensive tobacco sale. So Class T1 tobacco dealer would be for anyone with 20% or less of his gross revenue sale from tobacco products. Also, under the zoning code, some tobacco shops, some businesses are exempt from tobacco shop definition. That includes grocery stores like Jewel Osco. It includes anyone with a liquor or restaurant license, and in this amendment, it would also include gas stations. So those businesses would already be exempt from the definition of a tobacco shop. Class T2 are the rest, the ones who are not a grocery store, or not gas station, or doesn't have a liquor license, and they sell more than 20% of its gross revenue comes from tobacco product. They'll be T2 license, tobacco license. And what that means is that T2 licensees would allow only 21 years of age or older, and they will be able to sell products such as bongs or glass pipes, but they have to be kept away from the window or the front window, and they will be limited to advertisement tobacco products of not more, the advertisement has to be limited to 50% of the storefront windows or doors. There should be some exemption for the smoke shop, and there's only 2 in town, which is the Blue Label and the Torch, yes, the Torch. Those are the 2, and those 2 establishments, they do only allow 21 years of age or older, but because they're all tobacco smoke shop, they're probably going to need the full advertisement of their whole entire building to be able to advertise for tobacco shops, so tobacco advertising. So they would be exempt from the 50% limitation of ads. But if there's any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them.
I got a question. Go figure. So right now, there's a pantry thrift shop in the Coombs Strip Mall. They, right now, probably have a Tobacco One license?
They just have a regular tobacco license, just like any other, like I indicated, they could be selling $1 worth of tobacco, and they're in the same category. So they're in that shop because they don't currently meet the definition of tobacco shop in the zoning code, because they have indicated that they sell less than 80% of their gross revenue comes from tobacco, the sale of tobacco products.
So my question to you is, Class 1 shall not display, offer for sale, or sell bongs, pipes, glass tubes, or any other devices to smoke vape. That store has bongs, has glass products, so would they be forced to move to the T2?
They will be most likely considered to be T2, and those items will have to be removed from the storefront and be away from visibility from the public.
And they would have to
Yeah.
be 21 and over to enter.
Yes, I got that. And then, as terms of not putting it in the window, are we saying that it can't be seen from standing outside looking into?
Yes, so cannot be prominently within view of the front doors and windows of the retail establishment.
So yes.
So they're going to have a problem with that.
Well, that's to make some changes.
No, I get it. I went over to talk to him, and he followed all the rules to get occupancy and whatnot, and, 3 months later, he's going to feel blindsided by this, but that's the way government works. So,
Right, I mean, sometimes we have to react to the great bong wall, which, we weren't expecting.
Great
It's
bong
like,
wall in the
okay.
sky.
Because, there was a time when that wasn't legal, but after changes in state law where those things aren't paraphernalia, which we used to be able to just say no to, it's like, how do we deal with it, right? And so instead of having minors go back and forth in front of it.
Yeah. Crow's Nest and Crest Hill comes to mind. So is that going to be the ordinance person that goes out and tells them that?
I mean, there'll be
We'll
time.
send
It's
a
not like
letter.
it's the next day. You gotta-
It's January 1, 2025 would be the effective
Okay.
date.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm. All right. Any other questions about the language on that? We can put it on for an action item. And then AT2.
Yes, AT2.
Yeah,
Did you guys
I'd like
wanna-
to actually have a committee meet before we put it forward, kind of like we talked about last meeting.
So a request to pull for now
Pull for now, yep.
and have a further oh, that's fine.
Yep.
Okay.
So the next question is when is the meeting? I would say, I don't have any problems a week from today.
Is that enough time if we make it an open meeting?
Not
We can have it's a committee meeting.
Just
so-
a small, just,
Now, and then, so with a show of hands, is there anybody other than Jonathan and I that would wish to participate in that committee? Just, okay, all right, so that means that we'll,
Yeah, so the reason why there's only 2 council members to this special committee, it's not a formal committee, it's a working committee, is so we don't violate the Open Meetings Act for more than 2
I was gonna
council
get to
members.
that. But by so we don't violate the OMA, then we could call it a special meeting, and then we could post it online, and then we meet the requirement for, to allow other people to participate.
We can do that. Someone would have to take the meeting minutes and have those meeting minutes. But those are the formal requirements for open meeting.
Yeah,
I
so
don't think
basically,
we
we'll just have to have
yeah.
another committee of the whole, a special date for additional committee.
Okay.
If you're going to have more than two, then
Yeah.
just, it's fine.
I think
That's
there's enough
to be
interest.
So, what's the best day, Tuesday or Wednesday?
How quickly can we have it?
Well, you have to give 48-hour notice to post,
Okay.
obviously, and if this is...
Obviously.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
like I know.
Sorry, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Asking you.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest anything before like September 25th or
Yeah.
whatever, but.
So we're not looking to continue this, we're looking to set up a special meeting.
Yeah, they're gonna,
Yes.
yeah, we're just gonna pull this now, they'll set up a special meeting where they can have some
Okay.
more discussion, and we'll bring it back.
Well, I just mean, don't do it in the next meeting.
Just, it's a
Well, we
special
can-
working...
We could post it, we
Yeah.
could post it on Friday.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
not cancel.
if you all want to meet
Yeah.
on the 25th, we have time to post to meet that deadline.
Okay,
No,
so
we're not
we don't
bringing
have
it
to,
back.
we don't also don't have to meet at 7 o'clock.
Say request to set up a
We
special
can meet earlier.
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning.
So how's,
It's a pretty busy day.
how's 5:30 on Wednesday, September 25th?
This is one that does not need to be here.
Correct.
Correct.
It's a working group.
Good?
Yeah.
We'll
it's a
call it a working group.
Working,
So 5:30 on Wednesday,
Clarifying, yeah.
September 25th.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, we'll have in here in council chambers.
All right, last chance for new business or anything miscellaneous?
I'm sorry, what time is that meeting on the 25th?
5:30.
5:30.
5:30.
5:30.
5:30? Got it.
We'll work with posting that tomorrow.
Sonny, what's that fancy language you have to say where we're gonna adjourn, but go into city
Yes.
council, we don't have to
So
come back?
the motion to adjourn, to go into, adjourn the regular committee of the whole meeting to go into executive session, and that will be under 2C11 regarding litigation when an action against the affecting or on behalf of a particular public body has been filed or is pending before the court, or there's probable or imminent action in which the finding must be recorded and entered into the meeting of the executive session.
All right, and then that wording allows us to just be done
Yes.
after? Okay.
That
So
would be the
moved.
motion. Okay, so moved by Pugh. Second. Bartleson.
Second by Renee. All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right. See ya in the executive session.